Welcome, I'm Bev Adams. I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up. So this video is called Keep It Clean. And number one tip I have for you is avoid messes. Yeah, this is what my desk usually looks like when my creative juices get going. Forget about it. So my second tip is have room to spread out. Yeah, did I mention my tiny craft corner? I don't have any room, and so things get stacked up on my desk, especially when I'm videoing or preparing for a workshop. I've got scraps of paper and ink all over the place. Number three, organize, and this is kind of my specialty. I do everything I can to get organized, and I've got lots of help for you too that I share on my website, bevadams.com. But I'd also like to suggest to you that we need to keep it clean. So here's some tips for that. Let's start with snips. Some people keep a pair of snips just for sticky stuff, and I don't. I have one pair of snips out that I use for everything. And they sometimes look like this. Can you see? And believe it or not, I was starting to clean these scissors off when I decided I needed to do a video on this. So a couple of things that I store near my craft area are Glue Gun and WD40. These are both pretty easy to use. And if the WD-40, it comes in other forms, but this one's got a pen. And if you just kind of scribble on your blades with your scissors and then wipe it off, it usually works. But another thing is Glue Gun, and this works best if you stick it on there and you let it soak for a while. Make sure that it gets up in this area too, because if you get adhesive in here, your scissors will really stick. I'm not waiting like I should, but already this is getting them a lot cleaner. Much better already. And while you're cleaning them, it's not a bad idea to sharpen them. When you're sharpening your scissors, you've got this edge, this large slanted edge, and then a little slanted edge here. This side is totally flat. This blade, you've got the same large area and a small area. It's this small area that you want to keep clean. So you want to match that angle and use a knife sharpener. You want to keep this edge straight as well. So sometimes I'll turn it so that my honing blade is going the same direction as the scissor blade, so that your scissors will be sharp and open and close easily. This is my snail adhesive. If you look in here, there might be little blobs of adhesive in this area. You take it apart, you can see it almost always collects in this area. I usually just pick it off. When there's enough adhesive building up and you've got larger globs of adhesive, it's possible for the tape as it's passing by to get caught on it and cause you problems. I don't know about you, but when there's problems like that, I tend to want to use dirty words, so keep it clean. We've got snail adhesive refills. All you have to do is remove this yellow cardboard and pop it in. Again, this is the important part to clean because that gets reused. And you want to be nice and fresh and clean. Same is true for the fast fuse. People have problems with the fast fuse because the adhesive is so much stronger that you actually have to work harder to break it as you're using it. If you don't break it properly, you get globs of adhesive in here. So clean it up. You don't want to be tempted to use those dirty words. This also is really easy to replace. You just get another one of these. When you're using fast fuse and when you are putting it back together, be gentle with it. There are 3 pegs that need to line up. This one's a little bit smaller. I understand that some people have pushed really hard and broken that tip off. If you break that tip off, you're going to be using more dirty words for that too. When it's time to use fast fuse, you do not need to press hard. In fact, I think it works better if you don't. Because I had it out, this part right here doesn't have any adhesive on it, so you just need to use your fingers to roll it so that the adhesive is on the end, and that adhesive will grab onto your paper. If it goes up over the top, you just want to stop that string. You do need to break it off. Stampin' Up! Says to use a check mark, but I just kind of do a twist and pull so that it breaks the adhesive so that you don't have the long strings. The fine tip glue pen is very fine. I see that I need to clean off the cap, but I also can see that I've got some adhesive around the thread and also some dried adhesive on the tip. And so I usually just pull that off. The most important place you do not want to have dried up glue is in that little tiny hole. We have this needle in here. If you get a little drop of glue on the end, it's best to just wipe it off and then put your tip on your finger and slide that pokey thing in there, and that will keep the needle cleared out. And while I'm thinking about it, a little WD-40, because I clearly have a hard time keeping things clean. One of my favorite adhesives is the Tombow multi-purpose liquid glue. It has 2 tips, the broad tip for spreading out. I almost never use that end. I almost always use this little fine tip. This glue is really thick. If you store your glue on this flat bottom, all the glue will work its way to the broad tip, and then when you go to use it, it will take some time for that glue to work its way to the end, and it may not come out right away. So what's really tempting to do is to squeeze and shake and squeeze and shake, and then when it finally starts coming out, sometimes it will keep coming out, make a huge mess. So I keep mine upside down in a little jar or a candle holder, but sometimes I end up with adhesive on the tip. Not a problem, pull it off. You can use a paper towel if you don't like the goobers. When you're gluing, especially small pieces, you want to use the Stampin' Up! Silicone Mat. It's really great to use because if you're using, say, fast fuse on the edge of paper, it won't stick to your desk. And if you can kind of keep that goober on your adhesive side, it's really nice and neat. And the silicone mat protects your work surface. But some of the adhesives, especially the multi-purpose liquid glue and the fine tip glue, do stick. Not forever. Mine was a horrid mess recently, and I had glue all over here, and I thought I'd try something that worked so great. I actually had to intentionally put glue on this mat so you can see it. This tip really works best when all of the glue is dry, and this isn't dry yet. Take yourself some wide packing tape, stick it on your mat, you could probably use one piece and pick it up and put it down again, but I'm going to cover up my whole mat with it. Use my bone folder and really press it down really hard, then pull it up. And except for that part that's still wet, it is perfectly clean. I love it. I just wanted to share that I let that little bit of glue dry, and really one of the ways you can get rid of it is just use your adhesive eraser. This adhesive eraser is made for if you put adhesive in the wrong place on your project, or maybe some of the multi-purpose liquid glue squeezes out the edges, and this adhesive eraser picks it up nicely. I usually just pick off the goobers, but you can also use your scissors to cut them off. This adhesive eraser lasts a very long time, even with cutting off the pieces. I think I've had mine for probably 6 or 7 years now. All nice and clean. Stamp pads. It's really easy to get a little bit of ink around here. When you use your stamp pad, almost all of mine have some ink in here. It's okay there because when you close it, it's going to be on the bottom. But what I tend to get is ink on the sides, either from the block or from refilling. And this ink is likely to get onto your fingers. Once that ink is on your fingers, it's likely to get onto your project, and that will make you use those bad words, those dirty words. So clean your stamp pads, especially after you've refilled them. And we're finally getting to the stamps and the blocks. My personal theory is Stamp and Mist is part of the problem as well as part of the solution. Stamp and Mist has a conditioner that helps keep your rubber stamps nice and supple, but my personal belief is that that same conditioner leaves a residue on your blocks and your stamps when you're cleaning them, and that's part of the problem why they don't stick. I like to clean my stamps, the label side of the stamp and the block, with Stampin' Up's microfiber cloth, and put the block on the stamp. Now, I intentionally picked the wrong size stamp. I wanted to model all the wrong things. So when you go to stamp, this is the wrong way to do it. To push really hard with the wrong block. Recipe for disaster. We've got ink on all the way around the stamp and on the block. Lots of opportunity to get it onto your card. But it's really easy to get that on your fingers. So avoid getting your ink on your block. But if you go to stamp and you press too hard and you get ink around the edges, take a tissue or a paper towel and just kind of blot up this edge. And then tap, tap, tap really gently. And you're not likely to get goobers around the outside. Try not to rock it. When you're done stamping, use the Stampin' Scrub. The Stampin' Scrub has raindrops and a sun in the corners. Spritz on some Stampin' Mist and scrub, especially if you've got one of these little stamps. Be gentle so it stays on the block. Dry it off on this side. And really the best thing to do is to use a block that's the same size. And again, you need to clean it off, clean the block, and press it on. Give it a good press. Let all those air bubbles work their way out of it. There are a lot of people that have trouble with their stamps sticking to their blocks. I almost never have that trouble. If I keep my blocks clean and my stamps clean, they stick. Usually after I have my workshop, I will fill a tub in my sink and use warm soapy water, usually use Dawn liquid detergent, to clean my blocks. And again, I use a microfiber cloth to scrub them all up, and they will be clean. And every time you do use your Stampin' Scrub, it will leave ink on here. So every now and then, take this to the sink, run lots and lots and lots of warm water with Dawn detergent in there and scrub it in there, and then blot it with a towel. And then I usually let it set up here like that to dry. I think that that's the last of my tips for today. I'm all about organization as well as some stamping ideas. Talk to you soon. Bye.